I was, Emrys, hi, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you, Sandra?
Good. So I hope we'll cover how to do those email, putting in an email so that it goes to through, you don't get the person's email, it actually, that part of it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have not, I have watched the video so many times and I still can't figure out.
and you're talking about the emails, like confirmation email once somebody submits the form, setting
Or
that up.
or even if you have you want to put like the list of board members or whatever, and you want send a message to,
Okay, I see.
so you want to have you know, a hidden, whatever that's called.
Right. Okay. Um,
Anyway, okay, thank you.
that thank you for bringing that one up because that's a good example. I wish I had one lined up, but I know there are many folks that are using contact forms um, in that way where it's definitely emails are hidden behind the form, but then you can make it easy so that you have one form for your entire board
Yeah.
and you leave it up
Mhm.
to the person to select who they
Right.
want it to send to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if I can, I'll show you guys what I'm doing. I'm just trying to see if I can find one like that. Might be a bit of a long shot if I'm just searching for contact us. Let's try a couple here. And if they don't have one already set up, maybe this will be the example we'll build up from
Yeah. There
scratch.
you go. Send us a message. Right.
So this is one version. Um, we can actually just start from here if you guys want. I am essentially going to clone this first and then use this as my starting point. So don't mind the next screen. It's going to look like what I see as an admin. It probably will look somewhat familiar, but the theme is a bit different. So I'm just cloning this to my demo site. And let's just save that at the bottom. Okay, so now here I'm going to masquerade so that everything will look more familiar to everybody. Okay, so what I had done there, I can also do for anybody. If you have a form that you've seen on MyLO and you're like, oh, that's nice. I want that for my site. We can make that happen. Um, okay, so we are starting out with a form that is essentially kind of a straightforward. This is going to one or a batch of people. There isn't currently a way for this form to allow a person to say, well, I want to choose from a list of folks. So let's jump into the web form. And this specifically, let's see, it is a web form. Not only do web form content types allow for you to build a form on that, pages and events do as well. So I'm going to start first with adding the question, I guess, of allowing them to choose. So before I add what the question will be, that's what the new component name would be. I'm going to first choose the type, and that is select options. So anytime that you have options for them to choose from, that's what you'll want to have as your type. And then again, this label, the new component name, will be the question posed to them. So who would you like to send your message to? Something along those lines. And we'll make it required, since this is going to tell us who exactly is going to receive this message. We can fill in a description, which by default will show up under the options, but I think it's going to be pretty straightforward with the question that we provided. So now with the options, the instructions down below tell us the kind of construction, the way that you have to build your options. So there are two parts to each option. What is known as a safe key, and that's for the MyLO system to be able to quickly and easily recognize. And then the sum readable option is for us humans. We're viewing it on the website, and that's the portion that we would see. So I like to start with the right side. It's a little bit easier because that's, what the thoughts that are coming off the mind, whatever the items are, the options are here, that's what you can start creating your list with. So just going to list roles: president, VP, secretary, and let's just say director. I do sometimes include that if that's helpful, but you could probably get away with, providing each person. So I've created the right side. This is what I want folks to be able to see when they, come visit this question. So to build up the left side, I do have to separate the option with a vertical bar. So you can either start with the safe key or the vertical bar. Either way, make sure that that is separating. So the safe key is, the purpose of the safe key is so that if you wanted to build tokens, and I can quickly jump to that. If you haven't seen these before, there's a quick description of them. Tokens will represent a value that is typically not yet known. And when it comes to web form submissions, that value is known as soon as, a submission is made. So let me see, where was I here? So a safe key could be a building block to these tokens. So you could build a token so long that it includes that option's safe key, and then it would represent the value of that option. It's typically, I would say these are more done with, like, let's say like the question or just one particular answer that was provided. When it comes to options that you have provided in a question, that is not as typical of a case for you to need to use a token, but it's available. So with that said, whatever you provide as the safe key can be as simple as a 1, 2, 3. It could just be a repeat of whatever wording you provided, just replace the spaces with underscores. It's just so that you can identify what this option is if you wanted to build that token. Any questions so far? I see Susan.
Yeah, sorry. All right. What is the function of a safe key?
That was what I explained. So the safe key.
I know, but this doesn't mean anything yet.
So the safe key can help to build up that token, and that token can be, let's say, like, for example, on the confirmation page, after someone fills out a form, you can use a token there that says, let me go back over here. So this here, submission values, if I replace this question mark with, I have on my form, let's say the question, the label is name, and it's asking for the person's name. So if I provide that label, name, then that is going to provide me with that person's name. So on the confirmation page, I could say hi and include this token. And every time that they submit a form, let's say, Susan, you submit the form, it's going to say, hi, Susan. I submit the form, it's going to say, hi, Amaris. And so this type of example, I feel, is more valuable than this example of if you were trying to provide the specific option that somebody had selected, or that you had provided. It's not as commonly used, but we still are required to provide it when we are building these options.
Okay.
So, and that's why I say you can keep it as simple as a 1, 2, 3 every time. Because if you're not going to be building those tokens, even if you were, you could still rely on the 1, 2, 3. But especially if you aren't building those types of tokens, a 1, 2, 3 method is really easy because then you can just go down the line with as many options as you have.
Okay.
So I'm just going to quickly name these something short just so that we can keep moving on there. Okay, so we have our options set. You have the option to allow them to choose more than one, and that just changes the look of the selection. Instead of radio boxes where you can only choose one, it would be check boxes. You can allow for an other, and you can customize what that looks like. The cool thing about select options is that you can also use pre-built options lists. So if you choose those, it will replace whatever you have in your options. So just be careful if you've already filled out your options and you're playing around with that. We've made it required, but you have the chance to make it required again. List box would be to make it look like this, so that you click on it and then it drops down. That's what a list box is. I'll show you because we can see what a list box looks like when it's, just one to choose from. But I'm going to go ahead and allow them to choose multiple and the list box because it does change the look a tiny bit. You can randomize the options so that every time, I think it's on the refresh that they'll randomize. The label is the question. So by default, it's above. And then we didn't provide a description, so I'll leave that alone. And then private, I believe, since it's results access, that's webmaster access only. So then we can go ahead and save this component. Okay, so since this is kind of the top question, we're going to add that to the top. Oh, and I realize I don't have to take anything out. Okay, perfect. So we save that. And so far, we're asking them the question of who would they like to contact. We still need to figure out, exactly which inbox or email address each one is going to be tied to. So this is the look of the list box when you allow for multiple. So it's kind of similar to probably other places that we have on the site. Like I know the subscriptions area kind of looks like this in our homepage. Okay, so now let's go ahead and assign each role, each person here with an email address. So we're going to go over to webform, but this time we go to emails. Okay, and these were actually taken from before. I'm just going to get rid of them, just that one, because we may want to test this out. Okay, so for the new entry, we're actually going to choose a component value. And by default, this always just shows you the first question that pops up. And sorry, my little autofill is in the way. But the most commonly used form component types that can be assigned here for an email are obviously email, because we see I'm asking the person filling out the form to provide their email address as well. So we could use that to send them a confirmation email or, whatever we want. And then who would you like to send your message to? That's the select options type. So those are two very commonly used ones. And I'll go ahead and add because I've selected who would you like to send your message to? And so the email to address, that's already what we've provided. We don't have to change anything up top there. And then this is what we get with the select options type. We see each option listed with its own box for email address. So just for demonstration. I mean, I guess we don't have to go through every single one, but I'll leave one blank. But that you can, have, obviously you want to have an entry in each one, but I just want to show the fact that it will just take it as is. So that may be something to be careful of if you happen to not fill one in by accident. But fill in your email addresses. We obviously want to leave that checked, enable sending. And then here the email header details you can customize. The subject is taken from the name of the form, and it always just starts with form submission from. I would say make this, to whoever it's being sent to. If it's a confirmation email to the person filling it out, or if it's, form submission details to your webmaster. And then the same
So
thing. Yeah.
This is for emails coming back to the web company, the people on the web. It's not the confirmation that goes to the person who filled out the form and sent it to the president. This is an email that's coming back to the webmaster or whomever.
Right. I am right now setting up the email or the email settings for when or somebody is filling out the form and they say this should go to a certain person. I'm saying who those certain people are. Yeah.
Right. That I can see. Okay. But then down below, you're talking about.
And sorry, yeah, I probably shouldn't jump around to different types of email. Since this is just to your leadership, then you could say, a message from MyLO to you or something, from a member to you. And then the email from address, the support, it's not an actual inbox for us. So if you expect folks to respond back or you're hoping for them to, just customize the email there. And then the email template. You can customize it in the default or custom. It doesn't make a difference there. You could just go straight in to make changes. Just to explain it line by line, the top is the submission date and time. If someone's logged in, then this will show their username. And I think it's hyperlinked. I can't remember. And then these two lines, submitted values are, this is the token for all of the form questions and answers. So if there are questions that didn't have a provided answer, those will still show up here. And then this final chunk is mostly for webmasters, like those who have results access. So they would be able to click on the URL and then, let's see if I can just show you one real quick. No, that might not show me. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. But the results tab would show you a list of submissions. I don't have any submissions on this current web form, but you would be able to see the particular submission online, essentially the same information that you would be getting in email. But this is the basic setup of the confirmation email. I do have, don't know where I might have it at the moment, but I do believe I have some examples of others, because I know there was an office hours where we talked about this some, and we were customizing the email template a bit. So if anybody's interested, I can always, send that your way or just post it in the Google group. But I'm gonna just skip the customization of the email template for now, and just leave it as is. And then real quick, the included email values, by default, everything is selected. But if there was something on here that say that those leadership folks don't need to see, then you can exclude certain ones. But go ahead and save that if you're ready. Oops, I had accidentally selected the custom email field. Where is that? Here. Okay. Now we can go ahead and save. All right, so this is now what that looks like. It is being sent to the value of who would you like to send your message to. So that value would end up being whichever role they choose, and then that role or option is directly tied to an email address through this setting. Any questions so far?
And the answers would be the more appropriate question.
So this can be used for anyone wanting to contact somebody, right? They don't have to be a league member or.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, general
So
public.
you got somebody who wants to send a message to the league president. So you select that. They put in their name, email address, and they put the message in. It submits. It gets sent to that person because you've put their email address in, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the president, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then where is it? Where do you decide what
What
goes
happens
to
from there?
the person who submitted it? Do they just get, is that what you were showing us before?
Let me go on back to that. Yeah, because then we can build that email setting as well. I'm
Like,
gonna
thank you for your, request. Somebody will get back to you. Like, where do you put that?
certainly. And sorry, that one I just deleted was from the clone that was
Okay.
already there. So, okay, yeah. So for that one, again, with the component value, instead of actually providing a static address, this time we're going to choose email address because that's what the form filler will be providing. So we'll add that. And then same as we did before, you probably want to do a whole lot more customizing here. Thank you for your message. We'll just do the same email address as before. And then when it comes to this stuff, I mean, maybe the submission values I feel like would be one of the most valuable things. They probably don't even really need to know when. I mean, that might be helpful. Those two would probably be considerable, I would think, to want to keep. Otherwise, the user line and definitely the submission URL, both of those aren't going to be valuable to general public members.
Okay.
So I'll just get rid of those entirely. And we can reword all of this here. Just going to actually rearrange this. I like that under. So the only thing here is that we do need to use HTML tags. And if we want any formatting, we have to add it in ourselves. If you were trying to get fancy and be able to kind of see what you're building, I would just suggest, opening up just a different page. Like you could even just create a new page, a new draft of anything, just so that you have a WYSIWYG box to play with. So I'm just going to do it for the demonstration. Let's see, I have one here. Sorry, I'm just going to pop back and forth a little bit. So I kind of want to say thank you. That'll be a header. We've received your message and we'll get back to you shortly. Short and sweet. So let's make that a heading 3. All right. And then, yeah, let's just leave it at that. So we disable rich text just so that we can see the HTML side of things or with the tags and copy that whole thing.
Oh, cool. I didn't know you can do that. That's
the easiest way I've learned to, not have to go searching Google and, what's the HTML tag for this and that. This spits it out right for you. And then since you're not actually adding this to that page, refresh the page, go back out with the buttons, go back home, however. close the window, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going back with that one. And then coming back to my email template, I'm just pasting that in. And so since I was just leaving the rest of it in, I'm just gonna leave it looking as it does there. I think I'll just add a horizontal line. That's a good HTML tag to have in your back pocket if you ever wanted to add some separation. Open caret HR, close caret. We'll add that horizontal line. So let's save that, and I'm going to fill out the form. Since now we have who would receive it as far as the form filler's selection, and then the form filler would receive an email as well. All right, so let's send this to, I think that was my work email. Let's provide a different email. Okay, so just short and sweet, let's submit that. I probably could have sent that to more than one person, but that's okay. And this is the confirmation page, just default. So that's just what it says since I haven't made any changes to it. I think I already got the email. Yes, I did. So this is what that looks like in Outlook desktop. So this was the text of submitted values are, and then all of this, whoops, except for the horizontal line represents the token.
Question.
Yes.
Is the person filling out the form then is going to get a thank you, and that thank you is going to include the email that you've provided for the president, for instance. Their personal email is now out in public.
No, it does not. The emails, so you see in my message, it does not include their emails. This address was the one I provided as the reply to, or who it was sent from. And then My League Online was what I filled in when I filled out the form.
Oh, okay. So that's not the president's email address.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, that's the whole plus about using these contact forms, is that they will remain hidden no matter what.
And it looks like if we use aliases, we have an alias president at LWB Washington. We don't need this. We can just give them that.
You're good to go just like that.
Okay.
So it is totally up to your league. I'm trying to find the other email that came to me. Here we go. And so this is I am the VP. This is the message to the VP. And we just left it as the template was, the email template. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
So what do the results of this look like? I saw the tab.
Good question. Yeah, now that we actually have a submission. So the results, and sorry, you were asking from the email. So let me click on it from here.
Well, actually, I want it from.
I'll show you from both places. So this was clicking on it directly from the email. And then going back, I had clicked on results, and this is where we are now. So after clicking on results, you get the table, and then you can see each individual one by either clicking view or the number. That'll take you to the same place. And then the same as if we clicked on the email link.
And is the message in there somewhere?
Yeah, if I scroll down.
Okay, got it.
And then once you're looking at a submission, if you want to go directly back to your form, just click on its title here.
Okay.
I've lost myself sometimes with that, and I'm like, oh, it's right in my face.
And if you have 322 messages, then what does it look like in your CSV?
This one might not have that many. It should definitely have more than one. Okay, I have 74 here. So it's going to be paged out in chunks of 50, or you know, you can choose to see them all at once.
But I want to see the messages all at once.
Oh,
I'm thinking membership, you know, if
I
we do
would
it.
recommend downloading it as a CSV. That's probably
Yeah.
going to be the easiest way to interpret it, especially for longer forms. So in download, all of the default settings I would recommend, since it's going to be in an Excel spreadsheet, the labels, which are the questions, would be how the columns are being broken down. And then if you have options that you're providing, then those are going to be separated out rather than being combined in one column. And then if you wanted to not include anything, you can. And then let's say you had already completed a download previously. This is where you can say, I only want to download this group or from after this date or so on.
Date range or something, yeah.
And then once you hit download, it should start its process. And so the nice thing too, it allows you to download it from here if it didn't immediately do its thing. So let's see what that looks like.
And if you have a message, it's going to be large. The cell in the CSV is going to be very big.
yeah.
Right.
There you go.
And that just may require some like rearranging, like resizing of your cells.
I've done this with Google Forms, and when I was not thoughtful in how I set my whole form up, my ability to look at the whole Excel spreadsheet was severely impaired. It was a mess, to put it mildly. So, yeah, thought is required.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably safe to say with any spreadsheet, whether it's on Excel or Google. And yeah, especially if you're allowing folks a text area rather than a small line, there's definitely chances for them to write a few paragraphs.
Is there any way on the form to limit the number of characters in a message?
There is not. I would say if
Okay.
you're hoping to limit, maybe provide just the text field instead of the text area, the one that just goes across one line.
Wow, where was that?
Let me show you that. So this text field type is just a single line across rather than like the text area. Let me show you what they look like. So these are text fields.
Ah, okay.
And then this is a text area. So just
So
the difference in the size could discourage them from writing a longer message. I'm not entirely sure of the character difference. I do know that they differ. The text field is smaller, but I don't know the exact number.
Okay. Thank you.
What does the president get when they send this message? Does it look like an ordinary email?
So for this one, each leadership person would be getting the same email template. Wait, no, this is a different one. The clone that we were talking about.
Yeah, the clone.
Yeah, the way we have it set up, since the question of who would you like to send your message to is setting up this email setting, then the email template is for all 5 or 6 of those options.
Yes, and that email template, as we were looking at results, was sort of cluttered with stuff. It doesn't set up so that just the message comes to the president and the name and address of the sender.
So it
I
does
thought that's what you showed.
Yeah, it does include it, but it has a bit more. And so that's why if you are hoping to take things out, you can. But this here, the submission values token will show their name, whatever questions you've asked them and they've provided, that is going to show there.
So if you go back to, you had gotten the email, right,
Mhm.
Cameron? So open up the email you got. So that's what it's going to look like.
Mhm. Once all the values are actually provided. Let me see if I can
So
put it
it's,
side
you
by
know,
side a bit.
This is what the president gets.
mhm,
Or
yeah.
the VP or the general inbox or whoever is listed on that options.
Okay. And where is the message?
Here. I wrote a short one. It just says thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. So if it was 3 paragraphs long,
They'll
then
get
it
the
would be
whole message.
there.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm, mhm. Okay. So I guess for this one, this one doesn't really make sense to add some PayPal onto it. Did you guys have any more questions about these? I did want to show a couple of examples as well. Okay. Any other questions? Are we good to?
I'm keen on PayPal integration.
Okay. And I think that's kind of what I'm hoping to move towards. With this contribution form, I'm pretty sure, I haven't taken a look actually, but I'm pretty sure they probably have some form of something attached on their confirmation page. But the cool thing about their form is that they have conditional setup, because they wanted to have one form for join and donate. But you might be able to use this idea if you had the need for maybe additional information if they wanted to make it a tax deductible gift to your league. And so just want to see, am I able to jump into their back end? No. So I just want to give the quick warning again. I'm not masquerading. I'm going to be in my admin login, so the back end will look a bit different, but I just want to be able to show off how they have their conditional setup. So they obviously have pretty robust forms, or what is called field set for each one. So the donation field set was already, had a lot of different options and questions, and then the membership does as well.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so what they did was, starting out, they had to build every single one of these components individually. So some of these might be the same in the donation field set. You're asking whether they're looking for donation or membership, you're asking them for their name, email address, phone number, street address. You're typically going to have that same information in both. So that requires you to create 2 separate fields. So I'm going to show you what their form components look like. And sorry if it looks a little wild.
Wow.
So they have the donation field set, and that was what we saw as the collapsible item. It contains all of the other field or form components, excuse me, that they have beneath donation. And then kind of similar thing for membership. They have a field set named membership, and then the various form components within it. The really cool thing about field sets is that, you could start out creating the donation one, and once you finish that, you can clone it, and it will clone the field set and all of its children. So they could start out not just from scratch creating the membership one. The only thing with cloning form components or field sets is that you have to go through each form component and change things up to be, what you need them to be for membership. But it is a really nice way to start out without having to just build everything from scratch. So that's how they have their form components set up. Let's show you the conditionals. Since they have the initial question that's separate from the field sets, how would you like to support the league? That is the main question that directs what is going to happen and what's going to be shown. So straightforward, they said if it's the answer is membership, then membership is shown, and that's the field set. And then they did the same thing, but for donation. And so let's take a look again. With that conditional, we are just saying whether it should be shown or not. You can still make things required with that, so that things can be required or not required. It is merely the conditional is just saying, put it on the screen. You can also make conditionals so that, you know, if someone answers a specific question one way, you could say, then the next question is required. So now let's check out their confirmation page. Okay, looks like they do not have PayPal set up here. Let me just double check. I think I do know of a league that does. Can poke around there. So yeah, they do not. Okay.
Dearborn does.
Oh yeah, I do have you guys here already, I think.
Yeah.
Where
we
did I?
don't have that donate and join
Okay.
in the same button, but
Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit. I know I had the page somewhere. Oh, it's right here. Haha. Okay. Yes. Somebody had also pointed out that your guys's oh, it was Susan who had pointed out that the forms from Dearborn are really awesome, and I really like them too.
They
So
are.
yeah.
They are wonderful.
I think, yeah, I think these are set up with
Let's see here,
conditionals
see
as well. Let's see if I provide something there. No, it doesn't look like it, but that's okay. But I wanted to show you the confirmation area. So first, if you don't know this tip already, I'm jumping to the confirmation page without submitting the form by just tacking on to the end of the URL /done. And this will only work if you're using the built-in confirmation message section. I'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit when we go to the back end. But let's just go to see what it looks like for the public. Yay. Awesome. So this is what the public would see as soon as they would submit that form. And then they would be able to go on and carry through to the PayPal checkout process. There isn't any communication between a MyLO form and a PayPal button. But the fact that we have it on the confirmation page is just so that it happens after the form is submitted. So let's go back to the form, and I'm going to masquerade as Mary Jo just so that it can look familiar. And I won't make any actual changes, Jennifer, I swear. All right, so over to web form, and then over to form settings this time, because we're going to talk about the confirmation page. Since it's a PayPal code, it's always going to need to be set to HTML. So since the PayPal code was already in there, we're seeing it in HTML already. But if you're coming into your confirmation message section for the very first time, let's see if I can show you here. Oh yeah. So sorry, I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit. This is the clone that we were working with earlier. This is what it would look like if you are first coming to your confirmation message section. It's going to be empty and it's going to be set to WYSIWYG. So my recommendation would be to first add the text and the beautiful formatting you want to do before you are ready to paste in your code. So again, as we did, you know, a thank you, We appreciate you. And you could add images, whatever you're looking to do. And then you can leave the cursor at the end. If you add in another line, it may add a break in between the last line of text and your PayPal button. So either way, even if you leave it at the end, it won't scrunch up your text against your PayPal button. But let's format this a bit. Yeah, that's fine. I'll leave it simple like that. Okay, so now I am going to swap that to full HTML. I'm just going to piggyback off of, whoops, that was the wrong page there. The Dearborn PayPal code. So your PayPal code, you're going to get it from PayPal and they'll, spit it out to you exactly as it should be. But if you were ever trying to move it out from where you had it, the identifying part of these of the code is it starts off with form action. You'll know that the URL has paypal.com, so that's identifiable. And then it ends with /form. So starts with form, ends with /form. I'm just gonna copy that. And we're working on the clone. And then coming back over, I'm going to paste. I'm always tempted to switch it to WYSIWYG to take a look at it, but sometimes that can mess things up. And when you swap it back to full HTML, sometimes your code will have changed a bit. So I would just suggest saving it.
And the thing about the code is
Whoops.
it's set up for your account. So if any of you like copied my code, it would go to LWVDDH.
Right.
And you can only get the code for your account by going through PayPal and signing in.
Correct. Yeah, you do need to sign in directly to your own PayPal account. And,
Right. And otherwise, if you don't sign in, you don't have as many options for buttons.
well, you wouldn't be able to create a button actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have any options. You don't have the same number of options, even if you were able to create. Because that's what somebody was trying to create a button and they said there are no options. I don't think he was signing in.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to go through this process again because I was masquerading as Mary Jo, and Mary Jo doesn't have access to my demo site. Okay, so I just went through and did the same steps that we were doing. I'm going to go to the front end. Since we've made those changes to the confirmation page, we aren't seeing it here, but as I did earlier, I could just fill out the form or just tack on /done. And there we go. When I added it the second time, I didn't include that little sentence, but it takes my formatted text and presents me with the PayPal button. And if you were trying to make changes to your PayPal button, again, that's done through paypal.com/buttons is like the quickest way to get there.
So it looks like if a member joins, we get two forms. We get a message from the MyLO form that says Sally Smith joined, and then we get a message from PayPal saying Sally Smith paid. And,
yes, it would be
right
that way. So that's a good way to know if you got one and you haven't gotten the next one. That might be a round of folks that you communicate with at a certain point.
We have HTML coding that was given to us back in the EasyWeb days, and it gives us one message, and it combines both of those sets of information, and it all comes through PayPal, and it confuses the heck out of everybody. So who knows?
I'm not too familiar with that.
Yeah.
We get the two, and it's one can go to membership and then the treasurer gets the PayPal. So it's easy that way.
Yeah.
And
Maybe it's a
people
matter of,
sometimes forget to pay. And so membership can say, did you, are you sending your check, or, what are you doing?
yeah, it may be just a matter of setting up the notification so that they maybe work better or
And so there's a potential problem, because if somebody doesn't pay and you have had this form set up so that it goes to the person that manages your database for membership, they won't know if the person paid or not.
That's why you
Until-
need communication
yeah,
between,
that it's just
Yeah.
gonna require a bit
there's
more there.
a lot of
because,
following up required.
yeah. I mean, I think that's always the way. If someone sends a check with a membership form, the check goes to the treasurer, the membership form goes to membership. Or if someone just sends a check and writes on it membership, treasurer has to tell membership.
Yeah. And yes, ours does. Okay.
People are just not, conscious.
Yes. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
this is really complicated, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I know it is, definitely. Does anybody, we were trying to switch to Stripe.
Hmm.
Do you know if anybody uses Stripe instead of PayPal?
I haven't heard of it so far.
We use Square.
Square? Okay.
And
Can
our
you take-
state league does too for our merchandise.
Does Square accept electronic submissions, or do you have to swipe a card still?
No, they accept digital payment.
They do.
Mhm. I think that if I'm not mistaken, I feel like I've seen Google Pay before with Square, and then, you could provide your card information.
Okay.
But yeah, I know I'm pretty sure there's another league too that's using it. Oh, I can't remember their name right now. It's one of the leagues in Oregon, I'm pretty sure, that is using it for their merchandise as well. Square is I think it's a pretty good looking interface, like the way that it presents.
True.
How do you feel about it, Jana, as far as like using it?
Oh, I like it a lot. Especially we sell our tickets to Lunch with League with it. And it does all the accounting in the background for us about who's paid, who hasn't paid. And it's so nice to be able to go there and see exactly where we stand.
And
What
you
do
can
you
use
for
it for
membership?
membership too?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
use
With the donation? Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you're with Orange Coast, right, Jan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to put in a test membership, just use test as name, and everybody who gets the emails will know that it's just a test.
Oh, okay.
And you don't have any problems with one of the things that I got a complaint about from our treasurer was that she gets confirmation somebody's renewed their membership, but she doesn't get anything from PayPal. There's like problems with it.
No,
It's not, yeah.
it's I don't see them even, but our treasurer gets
Okay.
when they pay.
Okay. Maybe it's something we can look into then.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll just make my name test.
There you go.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, cool. And I like that you provide the your jurisdiction, your league's jurisdiction. That's helpful. Alrighty. Cool. And then we're on page 2.
Nope, pay online.
Pay online. All
And
right.
that node is one of those key things that you were talking about.
Yeah, because then that is
I
what
love
dictates
that.
your confirmation page, right?
Yeah, it takes you to the right amount for whatever you chose.
Okay. Okay. And maybe Sandra, this could help too, adding a clue or, reminding folks that it's going to be payment step next. You can edit the submit button to read whatever you want. Cool. And so this is a way that you can have a confirmation page where it's not the default confirmation message section. It's a separate page that is being or directing the form filler to. Awesome. And then I think I just got the email.
Yeah, I think I got it too.
Here it is. Awesome. So this is, I'm assuming that token for, let me go back to it here. If we go back to the form, I chose my membership type.
Yeah, individual you chose. Yeah. If you changed individual to something else, it would take.
Or sorry, it was the membership status. That's what I was meaning to say. But I just liked how you made that bold there to stand out. And it's separate from the, typical submitted values token where it's all of them. So to be able to single that one out, we go back here, their list of tokens. She took the submission values, and then obviously that particular label is not name, it's membership. No spaces, just underscores status. So that is how she would have built that token. And then she just added some HTML tags to make it bold. That's really cool. Sorry, I got lost.
And if you choose household, then the conditional takes you to a different set of information. So you can ask for 2 names, 2 email addresses, yada, yada.
Yeah.
It asks for an extra set of like the name of the second person.
Yeah.
And then same thing, depending on the method. The node here is only visible to webmasters and administrators, but it gives us a hint as to where they're going to land. So since I chose household and paying dues online, I'm going to this particular node, and it's separate or different from the one I landed on earlier where I was paying online, but it was an individual membership. So I know this definitely took a lot of, maybe not balancing, but I feel like it was probably a lot of setup to initially get this going. But I think it's a really nice way to set it up, and it lessens the confusion for the end user, because then they're not presented with one page that has, individual, household, and all that different things to choose from. It's like, nope, this is the only payment option, and complete it.
Well, listen, gang, there are 2 excellent examples that we've looked at today, and we have representatives from both of those groups. It would be wonderful if a canned version of this was available to people like me, rather than me having to learn how to do all of this, which would be very, very risky, to put it mildly. And I'd pay for it. I mean, if you guys want to have a little fundraiser and want to just send me all my coding, here we go.
Well, Amaris has done things like that for us. I know with our Observer course, she was able to import it to another league's website for us. And then it was easy to get them up and running with an Observer Core form.
Yeah, and I can do that. I try my best to after when I clone something like that to try and strip that clone of as much as like the personal or like league identifiable stuff, like email
Mhm.
addresses or, you know, prices, like membership prices. I usually leave those aren't a biggie, but most everything else you can usually start off with. But yeah, I have the option as a MyLO admin to clone any piece of content, and then I could send it to whichever league. So yeah, if you are looking to have something like this, I
You
can
would
clone
have
it.
to redo all the nodes
It
because
would
those
be
nodes
that
would
too.
mean us, not you.
Right, that
So
is very true too. So yeah, not only would it be like changing emails, it would be changing the nodes, like for this one in particular, since we don't want folks to fill out your form, and then once they submit, then they're going to Orange Coast's
Yeah,
confirmation page and paying there.
you know, after I do stuff in my system and I'm outside of my website and I have to go back to it, I can either go to my website or I can go to Orange County. I have a choice and I have no idea why, but now I know who Orange County is. I'll be more inclined to go there and look at things.
well,
Yeah,
we're
me
not
too.
county, we're Orange Coast.
Oh,
Orange-
you're Coast. Okay. Well, that may be what it's orange. Whatever it is, it's orange.
Is that through, I don't know if this is the correct Susan.
Like when I go out to MyLO and look for videos to tutorials and all that stuff.
Let's talk about that one because this
There we
is
go.
the My League Sites box. It does have a bug. It is visual and it does not affect any permissions. So the visual bug is that it shows you an additional league, but when you click on it, and I'm masquerading as you, you don't have access to change anything. So
Oh,
it's,
I didn't think I would.
yeah,
I
it's
thought I could go look
annoying
at it.
because it's there and it's like, oh my gosh, I have another league under my list. But that is as far as it goes. It just
Oh,
is there. So
I have never cared and I was never trying to want to go and meddle. I just thought it was
never,
pretty.
no, we never thought you would. We know that our webmasters are not malicious characters.
Do you have a very common name? Sometimes that happens when I try to add somebody with a very common name to my membership list.
So she's not an actual member of Orange Coast. This is just the bug showing
It's
up.
been there all along.
Yeah, I don't exactly know why it happens to some users, but when it does, it is always just showing up there. But let's say, can I go to my account? It's not here. This shows you your true leagues that you belong
Yeah.
to. So
Yeah.
if you, yeah. But I think Sandra, did I see your hand up?
Well, I was going to go backwards, and I don't want to delay anything. So I noticed on a couple of these examples,
Mhm.
there was a question like how do you want to participate? And then there's a list of options, I can't remember which one it
It's here.
was. Yeah,
This
there
one?
it is. Voter services. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you set up this participation level just like we set up? How do you, is that what level is participation level? Like when you're setting it up in the form to get the check boxes. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
like what type of form component is it?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it is a select options. Let me show you.
Oh, okay. Because I want to add that because right now we have a Google form that we send people to, but geez, half the people don't ever click on that. So if it's in the renewal or join thing, it's right there.
Yeah.
I like that. So
And you can kind of get an
select
idea
option.
too of what it looks like on the back end, how
Yeah,
it's broken
okay.
down by pages as well.
All right.
Yeah.
And so
You want to take a look at the options as well?
yeah, so participation level. So you set that up and then you set it. Oh, okay. Voter service. It's just little. Got it. Okay. just like you set up the options for who do you want to send an email to. Got it. And where is that, straight little line? Where do I find that on my keyboard? I'm sorry.
For my
can't-
keyboard, it is under the backspace button, but you have
Oh,
to
I
hit
see it.
shift
Yeah.
to get to it. Okay.
I see it. Thank you.
Yeah, isn't that an often used one?
Okay. Perfect.
And is that making it machine readable? Did I understand correctly?
Yeah, that separation tells the system that that's when the machine readable option ends, that vertical
Okay.
line.
Okay.
We've had a lot of discussion about machine readableness because we have a new state board member who is low vision, and she's giving a lot of guidance on what it takes. And one of the things she said is anything in a text box her reader does not see. Now, would that be a problem with anything that we've just done?
There aren't any text boxes in play here in the forms. I don't
Okay.
believe so.
So the text field, for instance, isn't a text box.
No, because they're providing the answer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I will say that MyLO was created at a time where we had a volunteer on the team whose mother was blind, and so she had it very close to her heart to make sure that MyLO and all her projects would be accessible, and especially thinking of low or no vision users. So a lot of
Well,
that is thought into this.
a question I had, we have our new capabilities on the landing page to use a highlighter that puts a box around an individual event or news article on the homepage. And I wrote to my board member and said, now, does this work on your reader? And she's not gotten back to me yet. Do you happen to know if that could cause any problem? Are you still screening?
It shouldn't cause any problem, but I'm just not sure if it will present itself to a low or no vision user in the same way where it would say, this information is highlighted or, in some words.
I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about putting a box around it that might somehow make it one of these machines that's a reader think that, oh, good, this is a text box. I don't read those.
No, it is not converting it into a text box.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel like we talked about a lot, but at the same time, not that much. We didn't go as deep as I thought we could. So we can maybe save this for the next session, or maybe we skip next and go for the next one. Because I know we had a lower attendance, probably because folks feel like they're good on forms. But
I learn something every time I come. I'm just so impressed because that's
awesome.
well, and there's still things I learn by coming to these.
Okay, well then I say then that's it. We're gonna do next session forms again, because I think, yeah, it'll be beneficial, and then the more content we have in video about forms, I think will be helpful too. So
Okay, good.
alrighty, that's gonna be let me just pull it up for us all here.
I do have one more question before we say goodbye.
For sure, go for it.
The 504 error when the websites are down, is that dealt with? Is it anything at all we need to be cautious or aware of?
It is being dealt with still. We're out of the woods, so we aren't going to be experiencing any further downtime for that. So we don't have to worry about it happening for that same issue that we were having. We are still working on it though, since it is a good chunk of hours that are needed to complete it. So that work is still ongoing, but we're not going to be, ever since I think it was Friday afternoon was the unfortunate last time. And so we have not experienced downtime, and we don't expect there to be.
That's good. That's good. I had a couple of people got really excited about it because they wanted to use the website for something, and they were surprised. That's all. And so I'll just tell them, relax, it's good.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely not something that we're happy to have happened, or, not even close to it, but we're glad that it kind of happened in not a lull moment, but definitely elections aren't piping up
Amen.
right
Mhm.
at this moment just yet. So this will also be good kind of practice for election season too.
Okay, thank you.
For sure. No, thank you for the question. So yeah, next session will be on the 22nd and our usual time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no
Yes.
problem. Thank you,
Thank you.
folks.
Have a
Alrighty.
wonderful weekend.
Same to you.